Good morning, everyone, and welcome to LAEDC's, the Los Angeles County Economic Development Corporation's Together for LA webinar series. Thank you to everyone that's joined us this morning, where we will be covering Recovery 2022, the City of Los Angeles's upcoming COVID-19 small business recovery grants and programs, with a special guest presenter, Carolyn Hull from the City of Los Angeles's Economic and Workforce Development Department. I am Angela Amirkhanian, Program Manager for LAEDC's Together for LA program. For those that don't know, and it's your first time joining us, LAEDC is a 501c3 nonprofit public benefit organization who champions equitable economic growth across the Los Angeles region. If you have not yet visited our website, please jot it down, laedc.org/coronavirus. This is our COVID-19 resources hub that we update on a daily basis with any new programs, upcoming resources, any grants and loan opportunities, and so on. There's a great deal of resources on this website that is very valuable and applicable to various industries. In fact, there's a great, easy to use filter where you can narrow down the resource that you're looking for based on your industry type and the resource type. For example, if you're looking for grants and loans and financial opportunities, you would click on capital. So please take a look at this website, and that is, once again, laedc.org/coronavirus. Once again, this webinar series is brought to you by the Together for LA program. Together for LA is a strategic partnership to strengthen and support women in diverse-owned small businesses across LA County as we strive to recover from the economic crisis wrought by the COVID-19 pandemic. Resources and technical assistance and connections to these resources are made available through our most valuable partner and through a generous grant called the Open for Business Fund from Wells Fargo. Our strategic partners are showcased on the screen, including the LA Area Chamber of Commerce, LISC LA, ISD, the Dr. Jones Center, the County of LA, and the City of LA, who's joined us today. Once again, these resources and webinar series are brought to us by Wells Fargo, who we also have joining us this morning to talk a little bit about their commitment to the community and small businesses. So I'd like to introduce Gregg Sherkin. He is the Senior Manager of Social Impact and Sustainability with Wells Fargo. And Gregg Sherkin oversees Wells Fargo's social impact and sustainability programs and initiatives for Southern California. So Gregg, take it from here. And thank you so much for your partnership and your commitment to small businesses. We're forever grateful to Wells Fargo. So I'll let you take it from here.
Well, great. Thank you very much, Angela, and good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for giving me the opportunity just to say a few brief remarks around Together for LA and our commitment to helping women and diverse-owned businesses throughout the Los Angeles region. When we realized the magnitude of the pandemic, we knew that our small business community was going to be tremendously impacted very adversely. And obviously, no surprise to anybody, many of you, I'm sure, have felt that firsthand. And so we realized that our small business community truly is the lifeblood of our economy. And we have more than 1 million diverse small businesses in Los Angeles, I think more than anywhere else in the country. And we want to make sure we can do whatever we can to help them not only survive the pandemic, but thrive and hopefully go on to realize their financial and business goals long term, which is why Wells Fargo decided to take all of the gross processing fees from the Paycheck Protection Program that we receive from the government and give them back to the small business community throughout the country. That equates to more than $440 million. And recently we made a very recent announcement that we would continue to support small businesses in LA County with a $20 million investment on top of the millions that we already had provided during the pandemic. So we are very excited and grateful to all of our partners and very proud to be a part of Together for for LA. This is an incredible strategic partnership, one that I don't think you're going to find in many other, if any other, regions in the country. And it really comes down to just the willingness and the leadership and the vision of the leaders of this partnership, including Bill Allen at LAADC, Maria Salinas from the Chamber, Kanua Thrash-Intuk from LISC, Dr. Lucy Jones, as well as our partners in the city and the county. And we just couldn't be more grateful to them. And it's so exciting to be able to be on this presentation today with Carolyn Hull from the city's Economic and Workforce Development Department. The city is also doing amazing things to help small businesses, and I'm really excited to hear what she has to share today. So Angela, I just want to say thank you again for this opportunity. Thank everyone for making the time to join in the webinar this morning, and looking forward to hearing the discussion. With that, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you so much, Greg. Thank you for joining us this morning. And once again, we would not be able to do this work without Wells Fargo's support. With your support, we're able to really target our outreach to businesses that are most affected by COVID. And we've done so with your support. So thank you so much. I would next like to introduce my colleague, Cecil. Cecil is District Manager, Economic Development and Business Assistant with LAEDC as well. He is our Los Angeles representative. So he's here to join us and tell us about our business assistance program. So our business assistance program is actually available to businesses of all sizes and industries, whether you are women or diverse owned or not. Cecil is here to personally introduce himself and let you know that technical assistance and one-on-one consulting is available, and how to get in touch with us after the webinar. Cecil, thank you for joining us, and you can take it from here.
Thank you, Angela. Good morning again, everyone. As Angela said, my name is Cecil Florida. I'm the district manager, and I'm actually assigned to the city of Los Angeles. Very passionate about the county, and I'm very passionate about the city of Los Angeles and our small business community. I have taken the liberty to email a lot of you guys in terms of giving you my access information, and then also providing the resources that we have readily available. In this particular instance, next slide, we are in the business of providing resources to small businesses that come directly from our footprint and influence in terms of the field of economic development. We provide technical assistances in the area of workforce development and training, procurement opportunities, site selection and relocation, access to capital in the form of grants and loans, tax incentives, again, programs for manufacturers and small business webinars, as well as other financing tools and instruments. Next slide. So you can see we are very well connected, and we will connect you to these appropriate resources. So we do everything, again, from permit assistance, financing. We even have relationships with utility companies, again, workforce development. And we had our economic forecast yesterday, so many of you may have had the opportunity to take a look at some of the detailed and what I call very valuable economic data that we provide on an annual basis. We also provide cost containment, so we can help you with your overhead as it relates to reduction in terms of insurance, labor costs, and whatnot. As you can see, we do everything from soup to nuts, and I'm the person you would call. So most importantly, if you don't remember anything else, remember to contact me to kind of have access to these programs and these resources. Again, we're contracted with the City of Los Angeles' Economic Workforce Development Department as part of the service delivery, and we are part of Together for LA, as Angela so eloquently spoke to. Next slide. And so to kind of put a ribbon on this and button this whole presentation, at least my portion of it up, we also, recognize that things have been terribly challenging in these pandemic times. And so we're trying to marry all the resources regionally and more specifically statewide to bring these things down to the local level. And part of that is Safer at LA. So in terms of an employment portal to provide you all the guidance you need with regards to PPE or anything you might need to help your business be safer at work, the state has this resource available for you as well. We partner with the state as well to make sure that we touch as many businesses as possible, so we are not left trying to figure out things in our respective counties and parts of the state. And so that's at saferatwork.ca.gov. And again, my name is Cecil Flournoy. I put my information in the chat. Again, I've reached out to most of you guys. If you don't remember anything else, reach out to me first if you have any questions. I thank you for your time. I hope you had a great day, and I'll give it back to you now, Angela. Thanks again.
Thank you so much for joining us, Cecil. And I think it's important for our attendees and small businesses to know that despite a wonderful program being available, a lot of times it's difficult to get in touch with a live person. So I wanted to make sure Cecil comes on here, introduces himself, shares his contact information, and to let you know that after the presentation, we will get in contact with each of you, whether you've attended or not, in order to further assess you, talk about areas of need, pain points, and determine a very customized plan of resources that we could assist you with. I know that we have a long list to get through, so if you need urgent assistance, please contact Cecil directly, and his email address is on the screen. Let's go ahead and move into today's presentation. The reason why we have all gathered here. So today we are talking about Recovery 2022 with a guest speaker from the city of Los Angeles, who I will introduce just shortly. And she has joined us this morning to talk about the city of LA's upcoming small business recovery grants and programs. So before we do that, I do want to let everyone know that at the end of the presentation, we will take questions. So please go ahead during the duration of the presentation. If any questions come up, go ahead and enter it in either the chat or the Q&A functions. Some frequently asked questions that we typically get. If you missed anything in the presentation, absolutely, yes, we do record the presentation and we will share it with you after the program. The recording of the webinar will be available on laedc.org/coronavirus, where you'll see upcoming events and past events. So there will be the recording available to you. Once again, please hold your questions during the end of the presentation, and I will be sure that we address them during the Q&A session. So next, I would like to introduce Carolyn Hull. Carolyn Hull became General Manager for the Economic and Workforce Development Department, also known as EWDD, in February 2022, 1 month before the coronavirus pandemic. Under her leadership, EWDD administered the distribution of $63 million in COVID-19 related financial economic relief programs, including the City of LA Small Business Emergency Grant Program, the LA Regional COVID-19 Fund, and the LA COVID-19 Child Care Provider Grant Program. I always like to mention when I introduce Carolyn that prior to joining the City of LA, Carolyn was Vice President of Strategic Initiatives and Industry Cluster Development at LAEDC. We never got a chance to work with each other at LAEDC, but we are so grateful to the City of LA for your partnership and constantly creating programs to assist small businesses. So Carolyn, thank you for joining us, and please take it from here.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. It's really a pleasure to be here. And I really am grateful for the partnership with LAEDC, Wells Fargo, Ladf, and all the members of the team. It takes a village, and it's a pleasure to be part of that village. So thank you for the opportunity to discuss several of the programs that we are currently running and those that will be launched in the next few months. As you heard, I'm the General Manager of the Economic and Workforce Development Department, EWDD. And as you've also heard, it was a very interesting start to my career here, as we had to hit the ground running since I started a month before the pandemic. Next slide. The goal of EWDD is to develop and implement programs and projects that yield thriving businesses and create job training and career opportunities for the residents and business owners in the city of Los Angeles. It goes without saying that the COVID-19 pandemic has devastated small businesses in the city, resulting in a substantial economic decline, particularly in disadvantaged communities. Studies show that job losses have been disproportionately higher for low-wage workers, and the mom and pop businesses are closing at a higher rate due to drastically declining revenues. Many businesses are still struggling to keep their doors open. At the onset of the pandemic, Mayor Garcetti and City Council acted swiftly to support these businesses that are the cornerstone of our local economy. Next slide, please. But as we all know, small businesses need continuous help. And so the mayor and city council know that small businesses are still in need of this help. And as California reopens its economy, small businesses are still facing the impact due to decreasing revenues, particularly those businesses owned by women, minorities, and low-income households. In the recovery phase, we are using federal funds to provide assistance. The American Rescue Plan Act is a federal economic relief bill signed into law in 2021 to assist families and workers impacted by COVID-19. It's called ARPA. The ARPA guidelines clearly indicate that the funds should be directed to communities and populations hardest hit by the pandemic, such as low-income families and communities of color, as well as impacts that have occurred along gender lines. The city has been allocated over $1.2 billion in ARPA funds to provide much needed relief to Angelenos during the current economic crisis. To support struggling for-profit businesses, Mayor Garcetti and the City Council allotted $50 million in ARPA funds, in ARPA funding, to implement a series of programs.
Carolyn, it seems like we lost audio. We apologize, everyone. We're trying to figure out the audio. It seems like we lost audio with Carolyn, and let's just give her a moment to come back on the screen and test your audio out again, Carolyn.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Carolyn. You are all set.
I'm so sorry about that. The video doesn't seem to be coming back on though. Angela, can you put the video back on? Or I'll just proceed. Okay, here we go. I apologize for that. Apparently my earpods fell out, so I do apologize. Technical difficulties always in the world of the pandemic recovery. So let's go to the next slide. So the program that we're talking about that we've recently launched, in October of 2021, EWDD launched the Comeback Checks program, which was designed to provide $5,000 to 5,000 restaurants and other small businesses in the city. The response to the Comeback Checks program was tremendous. In round one alone, we received nearly 18,000 applications. Rounds 1 through 3 have now closed. And to date, we have funded over 3,000 businesses. Next slide, please. The program is geared toward micro enterprises, a business with 5 employees or less, including the owners, with less than 100,000 in annual gross revenue, and small to medium-sized businesses with annual gross revenue under 5 million. Next slide. Eligible businesses are all of those in specific categories that have been impacted by COVID-19 and that are located within the city of Los Angeles. And if you don't remember anything I say, we can go to the combatchecksla.com for a full list of criteria as to how the Combat Checks program is proceeding. Eligible uses of the funds include those addressing negative economic impacts caused by COVID-19 crisis, including employee payroll, rent, utilities, and insurance, working capital to reopen or to continue operations. Next slide. There are some businesses that are not eligible, and they include liquor stores, gun shops, are examples of ineligible uses. Next slide, please. Like previous funds that the department has administered during the pandemic, we prioritize funding businesses located in census tracts disproportionately burdened and vulnerable to multiple socioeconomic factors, such as poverty, pollution, unemployment. To date, 75% of the 3,000 plus businesses that we have funded are located in census tracts that have been defined as high need areas. Next slide. If your business is located in the city of Los Angeles and you need assistance and or would like to obtain more information about local, regional, or national programs, please reach out to one of the 9 business force centers that provide a plethora of services at no cost. At this juncture, we are not anticipating another round of another round in the Combat Checks program. As I've indicated, at this point, I believe we've received over 23,000 applications, and we have funded over 3,000 at this point, and we'll probably fund the entire 5,000 over the next 2 weeks. But we will be launching several other programs to assist small businesses in the next few months. In April, we'll launch a $12 million rental assistance program. But before I discuss that program and others, let me share some data points with you regarding the Combat Checks program. Next slide. Of the nearly 3,100 applicants funded today, more than half are within the other retail, trade, food, and professional science and technical services industries. Next slide. Of the 578 applicants who've selected other as their industry, the majority are in the other services category, while the second highest subsector are barbershops, hair salons, and nail salons. Next slide. Of the 438 applicants funded within the food sector, the majority, approximately 345, are restaurants, bars, cafes, and other eating places. Next slide. We also funded a significant number in the arts sector. Of the 161 applicants funded within the arts sector, the majority are independent artists, writers, and performers. So that was a brief look back. But as we move forward, we are aware that many small businesses have been struggling to pay their commercial rent and utilities. And in an effort to better understand the magnitude of these issues, we added several questions to our Combat Check application. Next slide. So we're going to be talking about our upcoming programs, of which there are several. Next slide. When we started this concept of how we were going to put together programs to help small businesses recover, one of the most important things we could do is have data to base our decisions and our programming on. So what we did is we asked several questions on our Combat Checks application so that we can get a survey of what the needs were. So we asked businesses, what was your business's monthly rent and utilities as of January 2020? That was pre-COVID. And among the almost 18,000 applicants in round one, the largest proportion, 32%, paid rent and utilities in the range of $2,000 to $3,999 per month, followed by 30% paying rent and utilities of less than $1,999 per month. Next slide. We asked the question, do you owe your business landlord back rent for the period between March 2020 to September 2021? And among the nearly 18,000 applicants in round one, 5,269 businesses indicated that they did owe back rent. Next slide. So among those 5,269 applicants in round one who owe back rent, 31% indicated that they owed less than $5,000 for the period between March 2020 and 2021. And 35% owe more than $15,000. So that kind of gave us some indication of the direction that we should probably take with our rental assistance program. Next slide. So we are starting, and I indicated earlier, we are going to open in April our small business rental assistance program. And let me state here that if you've applied for the comeback checks or any other program that we have launched, you are still eligible and you will still have an opportunity to apply for any of these upcoming programs as well. So for example, if a business receives $5,000 in our comeback checks program, that was really just to kind of get you started again. We understand that there's a greater need, so that you will be eligible to apply for the rental assistance program, which is grants will be given up to $15,000 or 6 months rent, whichever is less. And assistance we're hoping will be provided to approximately 800 businesses or more, depending upon the average size of the rental assistance need. The funds will be used for current rent or lease payments needed to continue operations and rent payments that are in arrears that were occurred on or after March 3rd, 2021. Please note that as we're opening the portals, and please work with your business source centers and any other technical assistance that you may need, because there will be a significant number of documents that will be required. Let me just mention a few. The city, you must have an active business tax registration certificate, a copy of an executed lease, verification of past amount owed may be required. Certainly, we're going to be looking for federal tax returns. And so again, it's this type of, we're going to give a lead time so that businesses will be able to gather this information. But this will be part of, and if you need assistance, certainly the LADC's business assistance program can assist, but also please reach out to our business source centers and they will be able to provide any additional information. Again, we want to indicate that this program will be opening by April, in April. Next slide. The micro enterprise program is one that we're actually launching. The micro enterprise program is one that we are launching within the next 2 months as well. The program is geared towards those smaller businesses that may need assistance, and we're going to be giving up to $15,000 grants to larger businesses and to up to $10,000 grants to smaller businesses. The grant really going to be focused, as I said, on eligible businesses with priorities given to those that have not received other assistance through the city. Next slide, please. Our equity fund. Our equity fund is something that we're really proud of. This fund is also going to be launching in the next several months, and it's really targeted toward women-owned micro enterprises. Grants up to $15,000 will be awarded to eligible businesses to use for operating expenses such as payroll, lease payments, and insurance. Grant amount of $10,000 for micro enterprises with no employees, and again, $15,000 for micro enterprises with employees. Next slide. Our child care grant program has actually already launched. We understand that child care is such a critical component to the recovery program. We have partnered with Low Income Investment Fund to provide grants of up to $20,000 to assist childcare providers. These funds are, as I said, critical as we open up the economy as women re-enter the workforce. Funds can be used for operating expenses, including payroll, lease payments, insurance, and inventory. Next slide. But there's the other side of the childcare challenge as well: how to assist single parents who are job seekers. We have beginning to launch a program, and I believe it's going to, it's launched last week, and it's probably going to be in wider marketing is going to occur over the next month or two, to assist single parent job seekers to pay for childcare services of up to $1,000 per month for up to 6 months. Participants must be enrolled in a qualifying employment training program or returning to employment. And in this program, and again, happy to reach out to give additional information. This program is being run through our workforce centers, our business force centers, and our youth force centers, so that we can gather, so that if you're going through those systems, you get the support that you need. Next slide. The Good Food Zone. This is a program and a project that is really important to the department and to the city as a whole, as we look at expanding healthy access to food in communities that have historically lacked access to nutritious fresh foods, and to promote new business models and innovations needed to offer healthier foods. We're going to be using these funds in selected areas to help businesses to expand, whether that means giving technical support or providing them with facade improvements and other such grants. Thank you. Next slide. The JEDI zones, the Jobs and Economic Development Incentive Zones. There are pockets within the city, particularly those areas that have been underserved and underinvested, where we're going in and providing funding to allow these commercial corridors to be revitalized. We're providing up to $1.5 million for facade improvement projects, $1.5 million for permits of up to $10,000 per business, and $1 million for upgrading business technology needs. Again, these are areas that are going to be, that we've defined at the moment. I believe, if I have it correctly, we have 3 or 4 JEDI zones that have already been approved. They have to go through city council, the areas, and we go through a rigorous analysis of those areas. We have several more that will be coming on board in the next couple of months, and those businesses within those JEDI zones will be able to access these funds along with technical support. Next slide. Our legacy business program. This is a program that's really important to the city of Los Angeles as a whole. We have so many businesses that have been a vital part of our community for decades. And oftentimes, as these individuals, particularly mom and pop shops, as they don't exactly have plans for succession. So we are going to help these businesses. It's really based on several programs that are running throughout the country. Look at ways to support and preserve qualified legacy businesses that have been impacted by the pandemic. Targeted outreach will be implemented to ensure equitable access of this funding opportunity for legacy business owners with language or technology barriers. Next slide. Now, this is not a new program that's geared toward anything that's happening toward the pandemic, but I did want to point out that in my role, not only do I serve as the general manager of EWDD, I'm the president and chair of the board of the Los Angeles Development Fund. And the Los Angeles Development Fund is a new market tax credit program to help fund economic investments that improve the quality of life for those living in the city of Los Angeles. Since January 2020, since the pandemic has hit, the LADF has invested more than $76 million in Los Angeles. So, next slide. And I'm pointing this out at this juncture because while it's not necessarily geared towards small businesses, it is important to note that in September of 2021, LADF received an additional $50 million. And LADF still has funding available for those projects, particularly those projects in underserved communities that may have a positive impact on our society. So I wanted to just kind of bring that to conclusion. And if you have any questions about the new market tax credits, please contact Sandra Rahimi. Next slide. So this is just kind of giving an overview of the Ladf project and kind of what we look for. Like I said, since January 2020, we've had 7 new market tax credit transactions with a total Ladf allocation of about $76 million. These projects have had a positive impact in our communities even during the pandemic. For example, the grocery stores that we funded in a food desert, 86 transitional housing units with the capacity for 370 low-income persons. We have provided 1,767 primarily low-income students with core dance programs. And as many of you may know, that there is a charter school that will be developed on a site that has been vacant since the 1992 civil unrest and has finally gotten underground with the funding. So I wanted to kind of pull this together just to inform you of what EWDD does. We have an ability to help small businesses, and we have the ability to transform underutilized land within the city. Our emphasis over the next several months will always be to provide stand up the programs that I've just outlined. I went through it very quickly, and I apologize about the technical glitch. So if you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Next slide. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. Thank you for that great presentation. So many wonderful programs to look forward to. And once again, if you missed anything in the presentation, I know that there was a lot of information about eligibility and deadlines and launch dates. Please note that we will be sharing the recording of this webinar after the presentation on our website, which is laedc.org/coronavirus. With that said, we will now be taking some questions from the audience. So if you have not yet submitted your questions via chat or Q&A, go ahead and enter them now, and we will do our best to address most of them. All right, so we have a question from a S Corp business. I have been in business for 29 years, but recently switched from a sole proprietorship to an S Corp. My business tax license had to be changed. Would I be eligible for the micro business grant, even though my tax registration is now saying that I started in 2022? So how can she show that she started in 92 actually?
That is a great question. Actually, that same situation happened to a friend of mine. And this is a great situation when you go to the business source centers, because the business source center will then make connect the dots for us here at EWDD. So please reach out to your business source center, find the old tax registration certificate with the new one, and make sure that they will inform us of the linkage. Great question.
Thank you, Carolyn.
And you are probably eligible. Yeah.
Thank you. And you did mention something that I wanted to remind everyone about. So regarding the comeback checks program, I know that we just wrapped up round 3. I believe you said there won't be any more additional rounds for comeback checks?
Well, at the moment, we are going to probably not. Here's why I say probably, because we're going right into the small business rental assistance program in April, which actually has the ability to get from $5,000 to $15,000. So it's actually that you have an ability to get more funding with the rental assistance program. It is limited just to rental assistance. We are thinking that if we go after the rental assistance program, if we have additional funds, because there is the possibility of getting funds from different buckets, we will go back and open up another round. But the most important thing for people to understand is that the small business rental assistance program will allow you to get funds from anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000.
Thank you. And if a business has already applied and received for a comeback checks program grant, are they still eligible to apply for other programs? I know this is a commonly asked question. So would you address that as well, Carolyn?
Oh, absolutely. And the answer is yes. We understand that businesses have different needs at different points in this recovery. The only thing is you can't use it for the same purposes. So if you use the $5,000 for pay your rent in May, you can't use the $15,000 to pay your rent in May. You can use it to pay your rent in June or July or for some other purposes. You just can't double dip, but you can absolutely reapply and be eligible for future programs. All of the programs that I outlined have the same, you can reapply for all of them.
Thank you, Carolyn. And how does a business check to see the status of their applications for either the comeback checks or any of the other programs that they apply for?
They can contact, I believe there's an email, if we go back to one of the slides, I believe there was an email placed in not mine, but let's go up one more. I think we might have a different email. Keep on going up. I hope there's one there. If it's not, I will find there's an email that we have that I thought was in the presentation, and I will get that out to you, Angela, for people to send in their email requests, and we will get back to people promptly.
Great, thank you so
Now,
much.
for those people who, let me just add that because we got 18,000, actually I think we got closer to 23,000 applications, those people who have been selected have been notified.
Okay.
So, and if people are not responsive, we've gone out of our way to make sure we've contacted everyone who has actually been selected.
Mm-hmm. So if you have not been selected, you will not get an email about the status of the application.
I think we're going to change that in the small biz in the next round, because I think that what I'm hearing is that people would like to get that email just so we can close the loop on that. I've taken a note on that, and we will make that change in the small business rental assistance program. We will send out an email. But the problem, well, here's the challenge though. We could only do that at the end. You know why? Because we're rolling it over. So, and the comeback checks, we haven't exhausted all of our funds. We've funded 3,000. You only have to apply once for these programs, no matter how many rounds we have. So we can only really tell you haven't been selected once the program is closed.
Right.
So that's one of the challenges there.
Thank you. And another frequently asked question that I'm seeing is, are these grant programs only available to businesses within the city of Los Angeles? So that means if you are operating in the city of Los Angeles, if you are registered in the city of Los Angeles, who is actually eligible?
Businesses that are located in the city of Los Angeles. So unfortunately, if you're a resident of the city of Los Angeles, but your business is in an unincorporated area of the county, unfortunately, you are not eligible for these programs. But the good news is that the county and the city have been doing a very good effort of coordinating, and that the county, and I think it's on our website as well, the county is running their own small business rental assistance program. So between the counties and the cities, we just could not open it up at the same time for various reasons. Everyone in the county should have an opportunity.
Thank you. And do nonprofit organizations, 501c3 social enterprises also qualify?
No, these programs are specifically for for-profit entities.
Thank you. That's an important question. All right. I think that wraps it up with our questions. If we did not address your question, we apologize, but we are available to take questions when Cecil gets in contact with you for further technical assistance. So please wait to hear back, or once again, if you need any urgent assistance, please contact Cecil directly. He did share his contact information in the chat box. So before we wrap up, I have a few more updates to share. We have been hosting webinars on a monthly basis, so please attend any of our upcoming events that have been listed on our website, which is laedc.org/coronavirus. We actually have our webinar schedule available for you to register up until April. So I'm sorry, May of 2022. So we have our entire series for the remainder of the program up on the website to please register and take advantage of. And on that note, the two upcoming ones in March and April are in partnership with the County of Los Angeles. So it's important that Carolyn stressed, though these programs are for City of Los Angeles businesses only, the County of Los Angeles also has different programs and webinars, presentations, and grants that are applicable to LA County wide businesses. So we will do our best to share that information about any upcoming programs as we hear, which we learn about and put on the website as well. So please save the dates for March 16 and April 20. On the 16th, we will be talking about introduction to government contracting. And then on the 20th, we'll talk about small business insurance. And once again, these are both with the LA County's Office of Small Business. With that said, once again, thank you to everyone that joined us this morning. Thank you to Wells Fargo for your partnership, for your sponsorship, and for joining us this morning to address our audience. Thank you, Cecil, for introducing yourself and for getting in contact with the businesses after the presentation. And a very big thank you to Carolyn for sharing all of these great programs that are available to businesses. So please take advantage, please get in contact with us, and we look forward to connecting with you to further assist you. Thank you so much, and we hope you all have a wonderful rest of the week.